Hello, my name is Angie Belcher and this is a special bedtime story for people who use Mothers for Mothers, either online or in person, but actually it's for anyone who would like a more realistic bedtime story. And you can see I'm joined behind me by all my favourite teddy bears who've been up all day screaming and wanting things. So hopefully after this story they're going to go straight to sleep. I'm going to read Little Miss Star by Roger Hargreaves. Do you like Little Miss Star? I don't. And that's because I think it has unrealistic expectations of celebrity that are largely shallow and do not add anything to the human psyche, as you'll find out in the story. Little Miss Star lived in Twinkle Cottage. Now, I'll tell you a secret. You promise not to tell anyone else, don't you? All her life, Little Miss Star had dreamed of being famous. She desperately wanted to be famous so that everyone would recognise her and ask her for her autograph. And she would have her photograph in all the papers. But she didn't know how. And that's the problem with young people's aspirations to be famous. It's largely based on the end game and not the process of actually having a skill which you've rehearsed and honed and done lots of work on. It's just about it happening. She dreamed about it when she went to bed at night, and she dreamed about it when she woke up in the morning. But how could she become famous? She had no idea. See, that's the problem. I think you need to let the love of an art form guide you and not just wanting to be famous. I blame all those kind of programs like X Factor and stuff like that for this kind of ugly, weird aspiration that young people have, that you can just somehow be famous and that's enough. Twinkle Cottage was just outside Tiddlyville, which is a small town a long way from where you live, and even further from where I live. One morning, Little Miss Star was out shopping in Tiddlyville. "Hello, Miss Star," everyone called out to her as she walked down the street. She was very popular, but she wasn't famous, and she wanted to be. I think Little Miss Star was a little bit precocious, actually. One of those young people who kind of just want to get up in your face but don't really have anything to say, no personality. She's not really working on anything to make her stand out from the crowd. She just wants to be. It reminds me of people like Jordan. Jordan started this, the cult of celebrity, when there's no real skill set, personality, charisma, or anything really to love or like. But it was on that very same morning that Little Miss Star had an idea. An idea, not likely the idea. Ooh, what is it? She was walking past one of the shops in Tiddlyville when something caught her eye. She stopped and stared. You see, it was that something that was to make her fame and fortune. Would you like to know what it is? I'll tell you later. The reason why she doesn't know is because she hasn't actually worked it out herself. She just wants to be famous for the sake of it. She jumped for joy and hugged herself with glee, and she hurried home to Twinkle Cottage as fast as her little legs would carry her. She knew she was going to be famous. She knew it. She ran upstairs and hastily packed a suitcase. Then she hurried downstairs, locked the front door of Twinkle Cottage and went to the bus stop. You see, bus stop doesn't really kind of reek of kind of fame and glory, really, does it, really? But there you go. The bus came and she hopped onto it. "Fares, please," said the driver. "I want to go to Tiddlyport Airville," said Little Miss Star excitedly. The driver scratched his head. "You don't by any chance mean Tiddlyville Airport?" he asked. Little Miss Star nodded and blushed. The driver smiled and gave her a ticket. hugely mansplaining, to be honest with you. The bus conductor knew where she wanted to go, knew what her intentions was, but just had to pick her up on that slight little mistake, therefore knocking her confidence. And now actually I'm worried about whether she will make it in life, because people like him like to put people like Little Miss Star down, don't they? At the airport, Little Miss Star bought an airline ticket. Where to? I'll tell you later. She'd never been on an airliner before. It was all very exciting. "Hello," said the air hostess. "What's your name?" "Little Miss Star," she said. "And where are you going?" asked the hostess. "I'm going," said Little Miss Star, "to be famous." "Oh," said the hostess. Is that it? That's all she said. Yeah, it reminds me of an old coach of mine that used to say, "Don't cast your pearls amongst swine." Some people just don't get your dreams. After the airliner had landed, Little Miss Star collected her suitcase and took a taxi. Where to? I'll tell you now. To a house. The taxi drove up and Little Miss Star got out and she knocked on the door. What's it going to be? Is it going to be like an agent that she sourced? Is it going to be maybe a college course? Because it's all about working hard, really, not about having instant success, about putting the hours in, getting up every morning at 9 o'clock, going off to sessions, rehearsing things, learning lines. I wonder where Little Miss Star is going. She could hear footsteps come to the door. And then the door opened. And there before her stood a large man. "Hello," he grinned. "Who are you?" "I'm Little Miss Star, and I want to be famous," she said, all in a rush. "Oh, you do you?" laughed the man. "Ha ha 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 ha." Laughed the man, yeah. And that's probably an allegory for, sexism in the acting industry and in the culture of TV and in theatre and film. That there's always somebody there who wants to put you down and maybe not put you forward for the best roles or give you the most terrible dialogue to say in your play or in your film because they can't be asked to write nice speech for you because you're female. "Well, you'd better come in and I'll see what I can do to help." I'm just a little bit worried that this might be Simon Cowell who's going to help her, or maybe some weird casting director who wants her to do much more than just read out the script. 3 weeks later, Little Miss Star came home again in Twinkle Cottage. She just couldn't sleep for excitement. "Tomorrow is the day," she thought to herself. "Tomorrow I'll be famous." But she did get to sleep eventually with a beautiful smile all over her face. Expectation. It's great, isn't it? When you can think, it's all going to happen for me. And sometimes it doesn't. The early morning sun streaming in through the bedroom window of Twinkle Cottage woke her. She jumped out of bed. Little Miss Star was much too excited to eat breakfast. She hurried into Tiddlyville. She rushed up to one of the shops. "Which shop?" "I'll tell you later." The window blind of the shop was drawn, so she waited. Exciting, isn't it? And she waited some more, and then, at 9 o'clock on the dot, the window blind was raised, and there, in the window, oh bliss! She jumped for joy. "I'm famous!" she gasped. And do you know what was there, filling the whole of the window? I'll tell you now. Hundreds of books. And on the front cover of every book, there she was. And there, at the top, in big, bold letters, it said, "Little Miss Star." "Oh, me!" she gasped. And there, underneath, in colour, was a picture of herself. "Oh, my!" she gasped. And there, inside, was her story. And here you are, reading it, it says. So I'm a little bit confused by this. Did she write the book? Because I don't remember seeing her, toiling till the early hours, pen in hand, trying to get an idea and writing all that stuff down. or, you know, trying to get an agent or making connections or having to go to networking meetings in order to be an author in an already overcrowded market. So again, I don't think this really tells us much about celebrity other than it's shallow, it's simple, and the real struggle isn't heard by most people. People just like to shoot the celebritydom. Anyway, I hope you really enjoyed tonight's story. Have you enjoyed it, bears? Yeah, I think they have. Anyway, I'm going to go off and have myself a nice hot beverage and maybe watch a bit of Netflix and get ready for tomorrow's relentless day of looking after a toddler in lockdown. Stay well and look after each other, and I'll see you soon for another bedtime story. Good night.